Yeah, I think that's very valid, and we may circle back around to that a little bit more in just a bit. All right. Anyone else? Yeah, go.
Giving up our pride, humility is the grease in relationships. So if we're willing to put aside our pride, that's something we can really bring to the table and give, because we want to hold on to it really bad.
I like that. I'm not sure exactly where I would go with it, but I like it that you say we give away our pride, and I guess maybe to some extent to be a little, and I'm not going to get the word right, self-effacing, is that the word? I'm not sure that's quite right, but maybe let someone else shine instead of us, that sort of thing, as it relates to pride, however you may. Yeah, I like that. Very good. Anyone else? Hi. I'm a blood product donor. I did that today. So that's something we can give, all right? So just, not so keen on that, are we? Okay, but, and then organs, you like that? You like that as a thought? That's, so that's, he doesn't care for it at all, I don't think, but, so if you just want to start getting real broad, you can throw those in too. That was free, by the way. You don't have to do anything for that. Okay, so what's next? How do we know if we are using our available resources appropriately? And I'll let you, in your own mind, determine what appropriately means. I'm not looking to specify that on your behalf. I'll let you decide that for yourself. So, but again, to think about our thinking. How do we know if we're using our resources appropriately?
Well, it would certainly require self-examination.
All right, self-examination.
That would cover everything from love to giving of talents to money.
Okay.
We have to ask ourselves,
all right,
based on where I am, how well have I done?
Okay, like that, self-examination.
I use guilt.
So what?
I use guilt.
Guilt. All right.
If I've done something to the best of my ability, I never feel guilty.
Okay.
But if I haven't, and I look back and I say, I could have done more or better, I feel guilty. That's how I feel.
Okay, I'm with you there. So are you telling me sometimes you have given all you were capable of giving? Okay.
At least I think so.
Okay, and you're the one who's important as it relates to you. I'm not really sure I've ever gotten there. Maybe that's a fault on my part. Yes, sir.
I was trying to answer this question on my own, but
well, I'm not going to answer it.
I remember C.S. Lewis. Probably heard of him before. He says that a rule of thumb, not a rule, but just a rule of thumb.
Okay.
Perhaps may be that if your charitable expenditures do not inhibit you from living a lifestyle that is in keeping with the standard of your contemporaries, you may not be giving.
Okay, all right. So if it doesn't hurt a little. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
One good barometer in our house is what the kids say. I can tell if we have lost our focus if, we'll talk a lot about at church about if the kids don't just assume we're going to church on Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. Or if your kids just, so like for us, the kids would be upset if we told them we were missing church.
Okay.
And so I know that we're doing good on making sure that that's a priority in our house.
All right.
Whereas, if it's a conversation, then maybe we need to rethink our priorities. And that happens a lot on things.
All right. So what you're saying is your children assume, that they're going to church whenever the doors are open. I mean, that is the first default, that we are going. That we are going. I've expressed that as, when did you decide you were going to church this Sunday? I decided it 45 years ago. That's right. I decided it 45 years ago. And then only when I'm just prohibited from being able to go, do I decide that I'm not. But the default is going. Okay. That's probably where she picked it up. But okay. Yes, ma'am.
A guide, if we were looking at on material things and what we should give back, the Old Testament doesn't give us, those are not the rules we have to go by, but if you look at what God asked of them then, which was, the finest and the best and the first of everything.
Okay, all right. But you weren't going with the tenth. I appreciate you not going with the tenth. But the finest and the best and the first,
He expected a generous, generous offering back to him from all the people receives.
Okay, all right. I like that. What I wrote down, and I'll let you expand upon this or ignore it. You can take your choice. The difference, let me do this and then we'll come back to you. Happiness versus joy. Remember, Mike did a lesson on that, 2-3 weeks ago? Where's he when I need him? Okay, happiness versus joy. If you use your resources to generate happiness, okay, then you're going to be disappointed. Because that's a non-recurring thing. You have to keep pouring more in it. But if you're using your resources to generate joy, okay, then maybe that's appropriate. What do you think about that? Go, okay. But what do you think? Okay, very good. Ron, I think that may go back to the C.S. Lewis thing, that our worldly contemporaries, they're using their, I'll call it excess, for lack of a better term, to pursue pleasure, happiness, things of that sort. Whereas what we should be doing is using it to pursue joy. You okay with that? I'm sorry, I missed who said it.
To be joyful is a choice.
You're exactly right. All right. And all these things that we're thinking about, they're choices as well, are they not?
I have a dear sister and a dear friend, and that is their favorite saying, is we have chosen to choose joy.
We have chosen to choose joy. I like that. And you're right. There's so many of these things that the world thinks of as an emotional response, that we're taught that they're actually decisions. And we forget that sometimes, don't we? We forget that they're actually decisions. All right, anyone else? Yes, sir, go.
This comment probably would have fit better earlier in our discussion, but as part of that introspection, self-examination, am I doing enough? How do I judge that, etc. Carol and I, through the years, have challenged ourselves in our giving financially, that this year we can do X, and then next year maybe we can do another X, or whatever. And what we have found in all of these years is, when that first X was given, it hurt a little.
That's great.
But then toward the end of the year, it didn't hurt anymore. It seemed like God had taken care of our fear. And then when you do the challenge next year, the same thing. It's like, we don't see how we're going to do this, but here we are, December 31st, and it worked out. And so that introspection is, I think, constant, yearly certainly, maybe more often.
I think it's
But the
regular or
idea of
recurring. Yeah.
challenging ourselves is one way to help us understand better. Are we doing enough? Can we do more?
Okay. All right. Before we get away from this, let me ask this. Is it wrong to use our resources for our personal happiness?
No.
He says no. Anyone want to disagree? Okay. Anyone want to be? Say what?
Did you say habits or happiness?
Happiness. I agree with him. I'd say no. I mean, there has to be a balance. Okay. So I don't want you walking in here saying, I got, Johnston saying I need to live like a monk, and then, and give everything away and all sorts. I'm not saying that, But what I'm saying is we need to evaluate. We need to prioritize, we need to give consideration to these things. Okay? All right. I won't stay there much longer. All right.
Get older, it just seems like the possessions are not that. I mean, they tend to end up being clutter. It's like we have too many things, and in our home, and where I don't have.
Roseanne, are you listening? Okay. All right. Just checking. All right. It is easy to be possessive, and I pick on my wife because she likes to collect. But I've got things you best not touch. Really, I've got things you best not touch. I just don't have as much, but I have them. Yes, ma'am.
But also as, when a person's life is over and those that are remaining have to sort through and clean out.
And throw away. Really, yeah.
And you think, this person's life, they accumulate these things and then it's like, what's gonna, nobody wants it. Nobody, because they have, in this country, we have too much stuff in our own houses.
Yeah. I'll address it towards you, though. No, it's not yours. Storage units. Really, storage units. I can't see, I have her first and then I'll come back to you.
We need to be encouragers. And to do that, we need to take a look around us and start valuing the silent people who make everything work without us ever noticing.
So
People in this congregation come in and put in work and use their balance and never mention it.
all right. So be attuned to the things that are going on around you that you may not see unless you start looking.
They need to be encouraged even though they don't ask for it.
I'm back to you.
Yes, we talked about that we could use our resources for our own happiness. And this scripture, I think, is on point to judge. But 1 Timothy 6:17 says, Paul is saying to Timothy, as they were very rich on Titus, for their son, command those who are rich in this present world not to be arrogant or to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment.
Okay. All right. Everything for enjoyment. Very good. What would happen if I gave everything away to support other people? Someone would have to support me. All right. And so if you gave everything away to support other people, then someone would have to support both of us, and then it goes there, there, and there. So, it's okay to retain. Don't want to get too far along this pendulum. Let me go here and then I come back. Yes, ma'am.
There's nothing wrong with having things, but we are commanded to be good stewards.
To be good stewards of the things we have. Yeah.
Well, Legion, for years ago, I think the lesson was sort of on ambition, maybe is the word, which, sometimes we look at that as a negative thing, but he had said, we need to be the best that we can be, and we need to,
And there's a balance there as well. There's a balance there as well. All right, I want to change gears again. Eric, when you did your presentation on Sunday morning, you claimed to be a technology geek, if I recall. All right, okay. I'm a budget geek, and I'm about to prove it. Will you give me that slide? All right. All right, you got to clean something up because even I can't read it. There we go. Okay, so budgets. Let's talk budgets a little bit. I spent 40 years dealing with budgets. Okay, so these algebraic expressions. So TR stands for total resources. You can define that however you like, okay? And then X is what you're spending for your own needs and things of that sort, and Y is what you have to get away. All right, so total resources, what you spend, what you can give away, all right? And then the second one recalibrates that, so if you total less what you spend on yourself, whoops, then what you have left, okay? That's Y. So my question is this. If you want to increase Y, what do you do with the rest of that? And my wife is going, I have no idea what he's talking about. Okay. Which is why I do the budget in our house. Okay, all right. Do what? You can decrease X. That is one way to go about doing it. What else can you do? I'm sorry. So increase, all right. Any other choices? From just a simple equation. Any other choices? Jack's going, what? Okay. Okay, but that's decreasing X or increasing TR. I mean, those are your two choices if you want to increase Y, right? That's the way, he's probably did math when you were, so, both sides are equal. All right, that sort of stuff. All right, so increasing TR, you were saying that, all right, you increase that, assuming you don't increase X at the same amount, you increase Y, right? Okay. If you want to decrease X, how do you go about doing that? This is your answer.
You want a good answer?
Well, I'll take whatever answer you give me. That's up to you. But you've already given it once.
You spend less.
Well, okay, you spend less. That's real simple to just say. Anybody been in a budget situation, you say, well, we just spend less. All right. So how do you end up spending it? Yes, ma'am.
Examine it and look at actually what you're spending and see where the money goes.
All right.
So one, you're having to calculate, you have to record what you are spending, because a lot of times we're frivolous and we go in the store and you might have a list, but then it's like, oh, well, it's not on my list, but I think I could use that, or oh, that looks good.
All right, I'm talking about your introspective, your examination. And what you're saying is what I'm looking at as well, is that you have to actually know what you're spending, right? I mean, has anybody at the end of the month said, gee, where did it all go? Have you ever had that, occur? My wife is just over there giggling. All right. All right. All right. And so, who said spend less earlier? I forget. Someone. Who said spend less? Here, spend less. Okay. But I meant, if you're going to spend less, how do you know what less to spend? Prioritize. Oh, I love that. You're a budget man too, won't you? I forget that. Yeah. All right. My other budget man's not here. My other two. All right. So, yeah, go for it.
Have you ever dealt with really poor people?
Okay. Are they?
Absolutely. They're good at prioritizing when they have nothing.
Okay.
So they can put off a bill that's not going to cut off their electricity, and they pay their electricity. I've been in congregations where $20 meant so much to someone because it helped them pay their electricity bill to get them to the next month. Most of us are so blessed we haven't had those decisions.
And I hear what we're saying, but I think a lot of times those get themselves poor because of the decisions they make in spending, but I won't go there. That's too generalizing. But to prioritize, I guess, is what I wish to get us to think about. So it's again thinking about thinking. Would you
If you increase Y, you got to increase X.
Yeah, and that's true. But the point is, how do we go about correctly decreasing X? And really, making the decision that we want to increase Y. I mean, just simply saying, I want to increase Y, you know, and go about it. And I had this much better explained, so let me go see if I can find it in my notes and use it again. You know, so I guess we haven't really talked about the process, the thinking that goes into the utilization of what we have and what we spend. I mean, it's real easy, I think, that our giving is what we have left over. You know, we don't do it anymore. We don't pass the plate. But do you remember when we used to pass the plate? You open your billfold and see what you had, and that's what you gave? Okay. You know, that's probably not thinking about it in advance. Probably not. You know, it could be, but probably not. You know, and so it's just real easy. I'm getting almost to the end. Any other thoughts as it relates to that? Yes, ma'am.
I think the equation, that's not the way it should be. The why should not be what's left over after you already made all of your budgets for everything you want to spend on something else. So we're talking about the why is what you're giving support.
Yeah, I mean, just what you give. And that's a very general thing. So it applies to everything. Yeah.
So when you're planning your budget or you're examining your expenses or you're prioritizing, that's what I was going back to like that Old Testament example. It should be the first fruits or the best, so that you should be making the priority of your giving first before you decide about your budget for your car or your home or your other.
All right, okay. So what you're saying is you determine what you want Y to be, and then you make X to balance. Okay, I understand that. You know, and I guess I agree with you, but I also think you can probably start selling yourself short, like Jack was talking about earlier. You say, well, we're going to try to do this, and it's really a stretch. But when it got down to the end of it, it didn't turn out to be as much of a stretch as you thought it was going to be. And I guess, and I'm about to run out of time, I guess the point I want to make is if you want to appropriately handle the things that you give, your giving, you really can't do so without analyzing the X, what you're using, what you're doing. You know, if you don't really know what that is, and you're not really thinking about your utilization of that and what you wish to accomplish and what you wish to utilize with that, you really can't get the right why. That's really what I'm saying, and you may not agree with me, but that's what I'm saying. You know, and if you're not thinking about it, you know, then you're just never going to get there. Yes, sir. Okay.
In biblical times, in agrarian societies 100 years ago, the way you took care of your old age was to have a lot of kids, and they took care of you. That's not the way we live today. Today, we save our money and invest it so that, theoretically, you're not a burden on very few children who must take care of themselves or others. And so, what is the correct way to prioritize that as we think about our giving?
All right. So you're asking whether or not, as we look at the analysis of our X, if you will, should part of that include putting away for the future?
Well, I think as a practical matter, I think it does.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm asking how that should.
Well, you know, and part of that is just like we were talking about earlier. If I give all what I have away, then someone else is going to support me. So if I use everything I have now, when I am no longer able to generate any TR, how's that? You know, then someone's going to have to support me then. You know, maybe it's my kids, maybe it's, you know, maybe it's Jack, you know, and she takes me from here, there, to yonder, and all that sort of stuff. But, you know.
You were really before.
Well, yeah.
I know you need to end the class, so I don't want to take too long here. But I think there's some intangibles, probably more right brain, left brain, you're obviously very, left brain, like this, and this. But there are intangibles, trusting God, and I know you do, but there's things that we can't quite get to grasp wrap, whatever, like when Jesus took the 2 fish and the 5 loaves, and it was like, Philip went, how are we gonna feed all these people? And so they just gave what they had, and Jesus made be enough. So there's a lot of like, we trust God. Like I once told somebody, retirement, just scare yourself now. You're never gonna have this. That's the way I think about it.
All right. I'm probably not going to try to dwell into that because we are running over our time. What I was trying to do, and hopefully I've done it to some extent, at least to somebody, is for us to start thinking about it. All right? Start thinking about our giving and what we need to do in order for us to receive the benefits of our giving and to please God. All right? Thank you very much. Appreciate your participation.
Amen.